Agent Power Huddle is a daily jumpstart, giving you all the tools you need to create an amazing real estate career. Led by top experts in the field, you'll learn how to sell more houses in less time while creating the life you want. Welcome to the Agent Power Huddle.
Good morning, everybody. We're diving in to someone who has already closed this year 50 homes. Actually, might even be more. It's hard to keep track. And we're only in April. So if you think you can learn something from someone who sells a ridiculous amount of houses, I mean, Alisha, is it ridiculous? Or is it like normal to you at this point?
I don't know. I think it's probably normal. I think I'm just figured out what I need to do to get it done.
Okay. Well, that is where we're diving in. So we have the one and only Alisha Collins, who is here all the way from Wyoming. And I used to joke that she sold every home in Wyoming twice. But that's not really true. There's a number of homes, right? What's the size of your town roughly, like that you sell in?
About 70,000.
70,000 people. Okay. So
we sold 61. My assistant just texted me.
You sold 61 houses so far this year.
Yeah.
Okay. Just this year today. And by the way, we're not even entering into the selling season yet. So we only have half an hour and I could spend hours talking with Alisha. If you guys don't know me, I'm Jesse Zagorsky. I'm one of the hosts here at Agent Power Huddle, but today it's not about me, it's about Alisha. So Alisha, here's where I want to start. We just kind of joked about it's normal to you know what you need to do. How many years have you been selling homes, hundreds of homes a year at a high level for years and years? Or was there ever a time when you weren't selling this many and you kind of started to scale up?
So definitely when I met Krista Mayshore, I definitely scaled my business up for sure. Because of video. I mean, that's definitely, I almost tripled what I was selling. And I've also grown my team. So obviously the video is a big piece. Before that, I still sold quite a few homes. It was just a partner and she had brought me into the business in, I think, 2004. I was 26. She wanted that, younger generation. Now I find myself, bringing on young agents because I want the younger generation too, but that's revolving. But anyway, Carla brought me in, and about 7 years in, I started out selling her, so she had to make me her partner. And then we, had a couple team members, kind of made some mistakes as you always do when you start a team. And then she retired in the end of 2017. And that's when I met Krista. And then, things just kind of blew up from there. We still did. I mean, we still sold quite a few homes, but yeah.
I love it. So we'll probably talk about Script School, right? Because you do a lot of video. You run this thing called Script School. We'll talk about that today. But I want to know, I don't actually know this about you because I've become friends with Alisha for a little while now. Are you a tracker? If you look at your deals, the 61 deals you've closed this year, do you know where they come from? Were you kind of a rough idea? Where do you think your business comes from so far this year?
So I have to make myself track everything because I'm not a normal tracker. I didn't know where anything came from until probably, I think I started really tracking at 2021, 2020 probably.
Okay.
But I'll probably, I just did the numbers. I'm thinking between Facebook and my sphere, Facebook, my sphere, and repeat clients, it's about 70%.
Wow. Okay. Facebook, your sphere. And when you say Facebook, do you mean people who have been following you, video, kind of that, or people you've already knew from before on Facebook, or is it kind of all overlap for you?
It's all overlapping because if you think about and now the sphere and the past clients have mixed together, right? Because we become friends with them and they refer us. And then, we go to dinner, or they come to my house, whatever, all those things happen. So, Facebook, it's the people that follow me. I kind of put it all together because if somebody from my sphere or a past client, I'm dripping on them every time I post a video, right? Whether it's in my story, reels, I'm running an ad, they're seeing me there. And so I think that's why I kind of lump it together. I don't lump it together because I have it different pieces of the pie. But when I talk about it, I lump it together because I think it's all the sphere and the repeat clients is definitely because all that repeat happens because of Facebook.
All right. So let's dig into that. So we have a few more people joining us live. And if you are here live on the Zoom, by the way, you're welcome to ask questions of Alisha. Type in the chat box, or you can unmute yourself. Like, that's why I love doing this thing live, because I've got literally question after question I could ask her for a long time. I want to dive into the use of video. I know you've talked that you do trainings and you talk about all the time, but how much of your time do you spend? Like, if 70% of your business comes from Facebook, Sphere, do you spend most of your day thinking of video, curating video, or are you out just doing agent things? Like, how do you structure your day, and how do you balance that?
So I always say that I use every single minute really effectively. So one of my assistants says that I do more in a day than some people do in a week. And it might be true, but like, it doesn't take me that long to make video anymore because I've done it so many times. So if I'm in the mode, I can make 10 videos in 20 minutes, 10 short form, sitting in my car, at a house, sitting right here, wherever I am. If I have an idea, I start. And then, it's shocking how many you can get done if you really practice. And I've practiced a lot. I've probably made, I don't know, well over 3,000 short form videos since I started doing it about 3 years ago, maybe more. And so if I go to, like, I think some people, they would go to a listing appointment, they're there 10 minutes early, they sit in their car and they're scrolling social media instead of making a video. I'm the girl who goes in, who sits there for 5 minutes and makes 2 or 3 videos and then goes in. And I didn't really realize I did that until I have a part-time agent he's a garbage man. And so he sees people, he just feeds me leads. And anyway, and then I go to the listing appointment with him and then I sign it up and I do the rest. So, and he gets a referral fee. So anyway, one day he's like, do you ever stop? Because I was waiting for him to go in. And I thought, no, I don't. Like, I use every single minute. And as soon as you train your brain to do that, you don't have to remember to make a video. Your brain goes, oh, let me make a video before I run in here, like instantaneously.
I love that. So what type of videos are you making sitting in your car waiting for an appointment? Like,
now I get so many comments on like TikTok. I can just go in the comments and figure out what it instantly gives me an idea. But sometimes I don't. Sometimes I'm talking about like what happened in a transaction that might be shocking, or that, like, the other day I made a video about how a buyer found kittens that were born in a wall. It's some of those things that like are so bizarre that we think we've seen everything in real estate. That's what we make the video about. That's pretty bizarre. And some of them are just normal. So the bizarre ones get everybody's attention. Then, like, the more normal videos about just how I conduct my real estate business, how I would treat a buyer in this situation, how I would treat a seller in this situation. What are the kinds of things that come up in real estate in Wyoming specifically? How I think, inspections should be handled. I could go on and on. Like, if somebody said, this is my niche, I could give them like 80 ideas probably, because I trained my brain to do that.
And do you know when you're making the video, what platform you're going to use it for? Like, do you make a video specific for each? Like, are you thinking this is a TikTok video, this is an Instagram reel, or you just make content in it and you repurpose it everywhere?
So it goes everywhere. So I start, and I don't know why I started on TikTok. I think I just thought it was cool. And I had already done Facebook and YouTube. I'd gotten really good at those. And I thought, I think this TikTok's the next thing. So I started just making videos, and it was really hard at first. It took me a long time. Right. And then after I did about 500 and realized it didn't really matter what you said because somebody's going to judge you for it anyways. Right. Then, and sometimes it still bugs me, but after I did that, I thought, why am I not putting this everywhere? So I started on TikTok, and then some of them I put to different places via Repurpose.io, which is just, it just takes it from, like, you have to have a starting point, and then it takes it to somewhere else, and it just posts it automatically. And then some of them, like YouTube, Instagram, and Facebook, like, we care a little bit more about those. And so we actually, I pay someone to put them on those platforms every day. And the reason we have to be careful on those is because there's time limits. There's different time limits, and I talk a lot. So on TikTok, it might be 1.5 minutes or 2 minutes. On Instagram and Facebook, the reels can only be, I think, 1.5 minutes. And on YouTube, they can only be 1 minute. So she goes in and condenses them as she posts them. It made a massive difference. Now you don't have to do that. You could just post them and they can repurpose.io can like cut it off for you. And a lot of people do that because I see it. But
so do you still use repurpose.io with this other human being that's doing it?
I do.
So does your human being use, how do they work together? Does your human being and repurpose.io?
She does Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, and then the stories on all of them. And you have to post on your personal page yourself because repurpose.io doesn't do that anyway. And then let me think. So on repurpose.io, I do LinkedIn, Twitter, and Snapchat. There might be one more. And I really don't. I mean, most of the time I don't even look at those platforms, to be honest with you, but it's just, they're starting to gain traction on Snapchat. I just started doing it 2 months ago.
But it's all tying together when I asked that question of, are you someone who tracks your business? Because I feel like there's two real main groups of agents. There's the agents that want to know where their business comes from and they track everything. And the ones who are just kind of shows up. And I feel like if you're not a natural tracker, it lends itself to this world of social media, because how do you backtrack how this, did you ever worry how is this working? Or did you just get into the habit of doing it and you knew it would turn into business?
Well, I trusted Krista. So at first, I mean, it started really fast for me. I think now, that was 6 years ago. So I think there's more noise on social media. So I think it's going to take people a little longer, but it just depends. It depends on your sphere. It depends, so many things because I got instantaneous business from video. Now I had done some, I hadn't done it very well. And actually, if you look back at my old videos, they're horrible.
You've shown me some.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, you can attest how bad they were. And my husband always says, you can't say the wrong thing to the right person. So if somebody doesn't like my energy, they're not going to call me anyway. Right. I mean, I am totally in your face out there. And I think that lends itself to bringing the type of client you want. And sometimes, I'm kind of high strung. So sometimes I bring that high strung client to me, which is a little bit sometimes hard to handle, but I do it. And they love me most of the time for it. But what was I going to say? What was the question? I forgot.
You were talking about the energy. You can't say the wrong thing to the right person.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, it's just think about the people who you catch their eye. They're the ones that are going to call you. And it's continual. I've probably had 4 leads in the last week just from video, and they happen to be on YouTube. But remember, they came from TikTok. And so those videos came from there.
I want to change gears just for a minute. We can go back and we can dig more deeper into video. By the way, guys, feel free to ask questions in the chat box. I was thinking my chat here, make sure I'm not missing anything. Here we go. Lori does have a question. I thought I saw him pop up. Lori had a great question. Does repurpose.io change the videos from horizontal to vertical and vice versa for different platforms?
They do not. So it really is a vertical platform from one to the other. Now you could use horizontal, but that's why I'm careful, especially on YouTube, because if you post something that's longer, so I have a lot of long form content and that on YouTube. So horizontal, 7 to 10 minutes. I have a lot of that. And so if I was to post a TikTok that was vertical and not horizontal, and it was more than a minute, it would post it as a long form video. And you do not want to do that because it messes up your algorithm. And short form kind of messes up your algorithm too, but that's a whole nother story, a whole nother 30 minutes. But
we'll say that how about we say that for next time? Because I know we have you booked again. We'll talk short. Is that for next time? Then short.
I might not know enough.
What?
I might not know enough about.
All right. Well, that's
I know enough.
Part of a topic.
But anyway, so what you want to do is on those long forms, you want to cut them up. And I like to take the raw file of the long forms. If I was going to do this, I don't anymore, but I used to take the long form and cut it up vertically. So all you have to do is film that long form just a little, your videographer or yourself, you film it just a little bit farther back so that you can cut it vertically.
Makes sense. Does that make sense, guys? I'm watching faces. Yep. All right. Lori says kind of. All right, cool. Well, we can talk more about it offline. It's the way you frame the shot up.
Yeah. Thank you.
Gosh, it's really striking me, Alisha, as we're talking through this, for someone who sells a lot. I keep saying a lot of houses, but it is, you sell a lot of houses. You know an awful lot about video. You seem to really love it. If someone doesn't love video or they enjoy it, but they don't, the technical side seems to, because I feel like technical side tends to overwhelm a lot of people or intimidate them. Like, should they surround themselves with people who know how to do it? Should they learn it themselves? What's your recommendation?
I think short form is the perfect place to start because you can do it and you can edit it yourself on TikTok, on CapCut. I would use one of those just because the other ones are more cumbersome. But anyway, I mean, you can do all of that yourself. So if you make a goal for yourselves that you're going to do one a day, that's what I did at first. I did one a day, and then I did 2 a day, and then I did 3 a day. And I actually did quite like 6 months of 4 a day. Did I get good at it? Absolutely. I didn't love it either. And sometimes I still don't love it. Sometimes I'm like, oh, I'm out of drafts. I need to make more video. It's not, it's something my husband's uncle always says, I wonder how many things Alisha does every single day that she doesn't really want to do. Like, think about that. I do a lot of things every day I don't want to do, but I do them because I know that it moves my business forward and it moves my life forward and it provides for my family. Like, that's why I do it. And so now I do have to be, when I'm in, like, you know, when we all have that time where like words fly out of our mouth easier, right? And it's easier to think and you're just clearer. Those are the days that you make 10 videos. Like, today is probably a day I should make 10 videos, because 10 short form, because like it's easier. I'm talking easier than I might some other times. And so I really focus on that. And then it doesn't matter if you're in the same clothes. It does not matter. And if you make that enough times and you edit them later. So you record them when you feel good, and then you edit them when you don't. And I'm to the point where I actually people have been trying to get me to do this for like a year, but I got a second phone. I record on that phone, and then I hand it to my assistant and she edits them. And then I look at them, write the caption, and post it.
Just, so you're still, but even handing your phone up, you're still pretty involved in the actual production. So that it really sounds like, and I think it's so interesting when you see different content creators in real estate, it really is an extension of you and your personality. It's why you're not just like, I show up and then someone else takes care of it. Like, you have to have a pretty dialed in team that really connects with who you are. Like, do you agree it's really an extension of your personality? So that's why you're attracting the clients you are?
I mean, absolutely. Like, and that's why I joke about like attracting someone high strung. I have a client right now that I think we are the same person. Like, it is bizarre. And he says I have a super brain. Maybe I do. But it's so funny to me how that comes about. But I do think that you do. It's not, I mean, I wish I could just hand everything off. You cannot hand everything off. You just can't do it. And video is one of those things that you have to do. I have done everything in my power to hand off as much as I can. And I was like recording on a camera and sending it off to an editor. This just seems to be easier to me. The second phone, hand it to somebody that's editing them. Now, I think why I love short form content so much is because I can start and stop. So if I say a sentence I don't like, then I can rewind. Like, I just hit delete. It rewinds it deletes that segment and I go to the next one. I met a couple people that I had met on TikTok, real estate agents that are in an accountability group with me. And I met them in Denver at a Home Depot. And so they're like, we want to see how you do your Home Depot video. So we go in there and I start talking, and then I stop, delete it. And they're like, oh, we thought you were perfect. You start and stop? What? That's what we do. And I'm like, well, duh. Like, I mean, I'm not a superhuman. I'm the same way as you. There's things that when I talk, I don't like how I said it. And sometimes I say something 5 times. That is why I think I love short form so much, because it's just clips of sentences that somebody can edit together. And you can do, that's why I like TikTok and CapCut.
I was just going to say, so define, most people listening to this probably know what short form is, but just in case we have someone who's like, break it down. What is short form versus long form? And what are the platforms that you're really, and within those platforms where you're using short form? How would you define short form?
I think it's 1 minute or less, all the way up to probably 3 minutes. I don't really go longer than that. And I've tried some 3-minute videos. A, they take forever to edit, even for my gal. And B, TikTok says they're supposed to do better, but I don't know if they do. I don't think they really do. So anyway, anywhere up to 3 minutes, let's say. So TikTok you can go up to 10 actually, if you upload it, but 3 if you video it. And it depends on everyone's like update. Sometimes people don't have every single like use that you can do on TikTok, but so then it's a minute and a half on Reels on Facebook and Instagram, and then it's a minute on YouTube. And the other ones you can just put whatever. So I do think you have to think about it a little bit, but there's all sorts of things that can come from the short form. That's more than real estate. Like, and I don't know if I should go into this, but I want to like just touch on it. So I just started doing TikTok Shop. So I review items, and I mean, I think I've made like $8, but you know, you got to start somewhere. And then I did join. So I've like almost 62,000 followers on TikTok. So I started doing, and I've had some things go my daughter says semi-viral, like 700,000 semi-viral. I think it's viral. But anyways, so I just started, I haven't had any go do that yet, but I just started the Creator Fund. So I think I've made about $80 in the last 2 weeks. I mean, you have to start somewhere, but it's kind of residual. I was doing it anyway. And so I think that it's important to realize that there's some other things that could come with this video creation that we maybe didn't think about before.
Interesting. All right, we got about 10 minutes. I've got 2 questions I want to ask on two totally different things. Number one, tell us a little bit about Script School. Like what is this Script School thing you run? How do people find it? Just in case people are like, I love the energy you're putting out. How do we find more? What is Script School and how do they find you?
Okay, so we do it every Monday at 11 Pacific, 12 Mountain Standard. And it's 30 minutes of thinking of ideas to talk about. So I come up with everything under the sun, but I had to train my brain for that. And this is how I trained my brain. Like I talked about it to people. So we didn't want that to be the reason why people did not make video. We help a lot of agents, become video creators, Galen, Martin, and I. So we both run that together. So for 30 minutes, we talk about scripts. And then the last 15 minutes, you can ask us any questions you want about creating video or TikTok or whatever.
I love it. And just related to that, ChatGPT, has that made it easier for people to be content creators? Does it just give so many ideas that it doesn't actually help? How does AI and things like ChatGPT tie into how Script School and the need for scripts and things like that?
Yeah, I don't know. I think that you really have to be careful because I think sometimes it sounds like a robot created it. Now, I mean, we're always getting better at it, and she kind of is my personal assistant, but we call her my lifestyle manager. She uses it a lot, and she's getting really good at getting the stuff out she wants. But I think you have to be careful with it. So I don't use it very often. I do use it sometimes, but very rarely. And I'm sure as it develops, I'll use it more. My 2 cents.
Just curious because I mean, I know that's a whole separate discussion. Some people are into it, some people are not. And I love that you've used the phrase 3 times now, trained your brain. I hope that the one thing people take away from all this is you didn't start off being the expert people see. Like you had to learn, these are skills you learned and you train. And because they're skills you learned, anyone can learn them if they put enough effort into it. We got about 5 minutes. I do have one other just related question that maybe this is a deeper rabbit hole we won't go into today, but I talk to agents often that are starting to get busier, right? They hit that point where they're like, I feel like I'm doing as much as I can do in a day. What do I do? Yes, you scaled your team, but other than scaling a team, like, did you bump into that as you were starting to get busier? Like, did you just push straight through it? Or have you ever found, I guess my question is this, have you ever found your limit? And if so, what did you do when you found that limit?
So we were just talking about this because I realized something I do every time I need to hire someone else. And it's stay up till 10 or midnight working. And in the last year, I've had some personal things happen that I wanted to spend more time with my family. It just happened when right after I had hired my lifestyle manager. And I didn't realize that I was working really late again. And this happened twice now. So I've hired actually 2 friends. One of them lives in Texas and does like all of like the MLS, some of the posting online, like anything. And then I hired this other gal, Teresa. And a while ago, like 8 years ago, I hired a transaction coordinator because of that too. So anyway, I think you have to have people. If you want to keep going, you have to have that people help you. You cannot, do I try to do it all myself? Yes, because I'm a control freak. But over the time, I've learned that we really have to let go of some things to have a better quality of life and to grow. And last year, I probably, at the beginning, like a year ago, January, I probably would have said, oh, I'm just going to keep going like this. But I didn't. And my life is better for it. So definitely, you have to have help, and you have to know when you need help.
Interesting. I think that's such a common thing that it's hard to know. And your help typically comes, it sounds like you do leverage technology for leverage and some systems, but for you, it's more of the people portion that you're missing when you realize it's just like too many hours, too many things that there's usually a human being missing.
And that's why at some point when you can afford to pay someone, you pay them to edit your videos. You pay that, you pay all those things. And I do have video editors, or I have one, and he does all my long form and all, like any property videos, like those we do not do in house, but any short form where you see me where I look like this in in my phone, that's the ones that we do ourselves.
That's a really good distinction now, because property videos aren't so much an extension of yourself and your personality. It's about the property and marketing. So it sounds like I don't know if you're my background as a musician. I feel like your content creation is almost like it's your instrument. It's like an extension of you, the way that anything that has you in the camera, you yourself, versus property is almost like a separate animal. Is that a good way to look at it?
I think my personality comes out in those because those are like, so my long form that goes on YouTube, I have a script and I'm walking and talking and the camera guy's going backwards, right? And hopefully not falling. So that's scripted and everything else is not. So the property videos, I do think my personality comes out in those sometimes. So I think it's an extension of probably the short form now, because it used to be the opposite, right? But the short form like gives an introduction to me, and then they see what I do in those property videos, like how many it's showing that I'm actually doing business.
I love it. I think probably one of the best ways we can wrap it up here for someone to actually see everything we've talked about is just to follow you on the platforms, right? Like, how do people find you? What's the best way to connect with you, Alisha? Like which platforms, which way?
So, probably the easiest is Facebook, because that's the one. TikTok is weird how they message, but any message is probably there. And then, Alisha Collins Real Estate is all the usernames. Sometimes there's a team at the end, but it's one of those.
Alisha Collins Real Estate. I love it. And if you had one piece of advice to leave with agents, like I gotta give one thing, the tactic guy, what would you tell people?
Start making video today.
I love it. Brigitta's got our last question. She's stuck in there ready. Do you shoot video? Do you shoot every video on your phone or also on video cameras? So
all the long form is created on I think he uses a Panasonic camera, and then everything else is on my iPhone. Yeah.
If you got a phone, you can make video.
And sometimes I don't have a light. Most of the time I don't have a mic anymore. Sometimes I use my AirPod. Like, I don't even care. I just do it. I think if you sit there and you're like, oh, I have to order a mic, then you're never going to do it. Oh, I need to get a new iPhone because the iPhone 15 has a better selfie camera. Who cares? Just go.
I love it. That's the clip we're going to edit together, by the way. One of the many clips. We'll send these to you, Alisha. Thank you for being here. You are such a rock star. This is so fun, Alisha. Everyone else who's been here, thanks for joining us. Good to see you guys. We'll have Alisha on again. Autumn, you can tell me the date when she's going to be here. If you want to join us live, go to agentpowerhuddle.com on this date. I'm going to tell you in a minute. Everybody else, have a wonderful morning. And Alisha, thanks for being here.
Yeah.
Bye, guys.
May 14th.
May 14th. That's when she'll be back here. So join us live. If you're listening to this podcast recording and you want to ask Alisha questions live, May 14th, 8 a.m. Pacific, agentpowerhuddle.com. All right. Bye, guys.
If you'd like more information or to get connected to the Agent Power Huddle, join our free Facebook group. This call was designed for the agents in our EXP organization, but open to any agent from any brokerage. If you're a guest and you're interested in learning more about EXP or our specific resources within the Agent Collective, reach out to the person who invited you to this call to get more info. Produced by the Agent Collective Media Network.